Pagan. I know it's been a while, you guys, since I've done a video other than Rainbow News. I've just been mainly depressed lately and stuff, and with my back hurting and not being able to get around the house much. So I finally have time, and I'm going to do some videos tonight. Today's video is going to be on learning disabilities, classified as LDs for short. Now, I looked up a lot of videos about learning disabilities online. There's not that many videos about, education on it. There's lots of them that's done it, but what I mean by adults talking about the history with LD. Unlike, there was a lot of kids that have done videos on learning disabilities, which I think is great. But I think to do a video on a learning disability spectrum of someone that's been through high school and that has lived with it for a while. Now there are many different types of learning disabilities, which I'll list on the side. There's visual learning, which a person cannot learn auditory, that they can learn visual. And then there's an auditory learner, which is me, that I can remember stuff very easy being an auditory learner. Of course, I will list these on the side. There's also people, the most common one is dyslexia, that a person sees words upside down and has a really hard time reading. I did not have that. Like I said, I had the auditory, and plus I have problems reading, but it's not to dyslexia. It is about I don't know what kind of learning disability it would be classified as per se, but I just know that I have a hard time retaining anything that I read, and it is very hard for me to do so, which is, I guess, falls in the classified of auditory. That's why I like auditory books. But there's not that many auditory books out there. I mean, you're gonna say, yeah, there's lots of auditory books out there, but for my religion, my paganism religion, there was not a lot of pagan books on auditory. So that's mainly what I like to read, and it kind of sucks that it's happened that way. But I want to share with you my experience growing up and going to high school with learning disability. I was in special education, which they called special ed in school, and also a lot of those people that went to special education also got called bad names like SPED. They were called SPED and all that, and it was really not easy growing up with a learning disability. To have kids mainly make fun of you because you went to that classroom, and later on in the years, well, the whole time I was in school I went to special classes, special education classes, the whole time. But in high school I graduated from special education classes to half and half, which means half special education and half mainstream. Now, it was really hard. A lot of the book reading was really hard for me. I had to admit, I skipped a lot of school because of the constant torture and stuff I got in school, which you can check my other videos to learn about my history and stuff. But mainly I just got beat up a lot. I was dealing with sexual abuse at the time, so I didn't really like going to school. I was depressed, and people didn't want to do anything because they said, oh no, it's just because of school. No shit, that's part of it, but they said, oh no, it can't be depression because you're too young. Doctors around here are cracks. But for me, being an auditory learner, I didn't go to school a lot, and when I did go, I would skip out, just leave, especially in high school. But I still maintained a 80% average. by going to school half the time, half the year. But nowadays you would get in trouble for that. You would get in big time trouble, and I was starting to get in trouble because they started to enforce the attendance law more when I was junior and senior. They started to enforce it more. So I was lucky. Or I probably would have had to repeat 5 grades. But I did finish high school. And what is so bad for me is I know this ain't really an education video about it. A lot of videos have done that. I'm just mainly talking about my experiences, so I'm sorry if this video kind of sucks. But what I was going to say is that being an auditory learner and not going to school to hear the stuff and then had to read it from the book, it did haunt me. But still, even being able to come to school half the time and still hear those teachers and get an 80% goes to show you how, how someone with a special education disorder or learning disorder does not mean that you're any less than a person. And unfortunately, in special ed classes, when I went there, they would teach you the same thing over and over again. For example, I don't have much time, but math class, I would get up to algebra by the end of the year, and the next year would come and they would send me back to the multiple tables, and that would happen the same thing over and over and over again. They teach you the same stuff. So I basically taught myself. I taught myself how to build computers. I taught myself how to work on software for computers. I taught myself a lot, which I'm proud of. But my main message here is that I am going to list links about learning disabilities, different types on the side, like I said. But my point here is that don't be defined if you have a disability, a learning disability. Don't let them say, oh, you're not going to be smart, you're not going to be able to finish high school, blah blah blah. You can, and you will. And if you're dealing with this during high school right now, or school, you'll be free to private message me if you want. I can talk with you about it. But this video is not easy either, so I'm actually probably running out of time. So I want to say, just remember, just because you have a disability does not mean that you're dumb, okay? And may the goddess shine brightly down upon thee.